In the heart of ancient Israel, during a time of unrest and war, a story unfolded that would echo through history as a testament to courage, faith, and the triumph of the unlikely. This is the tale of David and Goliath, a narrative as captivating as it is timeless. The Israelites and their perpetual enemies, the Philistines, had gathered for battle in the Valley of Elah. The armies stood on opposing hills, with a dry riverbed separating them. Tensions crackled in the air, but neither side dared to make the first move. It wasn't the typical clash of swords and shields that marked this encounter. Instead, it was a battle defined by a single fearsome figure. From the ranks of the Philistines emerged Goliath of Gath, a towering warrior whose presence was as intimidating as the sharpness of his weapons. He stood nearly 10 feet tall, his bronze armor gleaming under the sun, and his spear, a weapon so massive it seemed more fitting for a siege machine than a man, was a symbol of his unparalleled might. His voice boomed across the valley as he issued a chilling challenge: single combat. If any Israelite dared to face him and win, the Philistines would become their servants. But should Goliath prevail, the Israelites would serve the Philistines. For 40 days, Goliath repeated his taunts morning and evening, his words sowing fear and doubt among the Israelite ranks. King Saul, Israel's leader, and his warriors were paralyzed by the sheer terror of the giant. The once proud army of Israel seemed to shrink in the shadow of Goliath's challenge. Meanwhile, far from the battlefield, a young shepherd named David tended his father's flocks in Bethlehem. David was the youngest of 8 sons of Jesse and was often overlooked in matters of great importance. His days were spent in the solitude of the hills, defending his sheep from predators and honing skills that seemed trivial in the eyes of men, but were invaluable in the eyes of God. David's life changed when his father sent him to the battlefield to bring food to his brothers and gather news of the war. Arriving at the camp, David's heart burned as he heard Goliath's taunts. He saw the fear in the eyes of the Israelite warriors and was deeply disturbed by their lack of faith. To David, Goliath's challenge was not merely a test of strength, but an insult to the living God of Israel. Though he was young and untrained in the art of war, David's faith was unshakable. He believed that the same God who had delivered him from the claws of lions and the jaws of bears while protecting his sheep would deliver him from this uncircumcised Philistine. David's conviction was not rooted in arrogance, but in his unwavering trust in God's power. News of David's boldness reached King Saul, who summoned the shepherd boy. Standing before the king, David declared his intention to face Goliath. Saul was skeptical. How could a boy, unarmed and inexperienced, hope to defeat a seasoned giant? But David's confidence and recounting of God's past deliverances convinced the king to let him try. David refused the king's armor and weapons. They were too heavy, too cumbersome for someone used to the freedom of the hills. Instead, David chose his familiar tools: a staff, a sling, and 5 smooth stones he gathered from the brook. Armed with faith and simplicity, he approached the battlefield where Goliath awaited. The sight of David, a ruddy and youthful figure, stirred laughter and scorn among the Philistines. To Goliath, this was no warrior, but a boy, barely worth his effort. Yet, as David walked onto the battlefield, there was a calm confidence in his stride, a quiet assurance that belied his age. The confrontation was brief but decisive. As Goliath moved to attack, David reached into his pouch, placed a stone in his sling, and hurled it with practiced precision. The stone flew straight and true, striking Goliath on the forehead. The giant stumbled, his massive frame crashing to the ground. Silence fell over the valley as the Philistine champion lay lifeless, felled by a single, simple stone. David ran forward, drawing Goliath's sword to ensure the victory. As he held the giant's weapon aloft, a roar erupted from the Israelite camp. Emboldened by David's triumph, they surged forward, chasing the fleeing Philistine army and securing a decisive victory. But this victory was more than a mere military triumph. The aftermath of the battle revealed the profound impact of David's faith and courage. As the Israelite army celebrated their newfound confidence, stories of David's bravery spread like wildfire. The shepherd boy from Bethlehem was no longer just a keeper of sheep. He was a symbol of hope and the embodiment of unwavering trust in God. David's life was forever changed by this moment. He returned to Saul's court, where his talents as a musician and warrior earned him favor. Yet, this newfound fame also kindled jealousy in Saul's heart, setting the stage for a complicated relationship between the young hero and the troubled king. As David's reputation grew, so did his responsibilities. He led Israelite forces in numerous battles, proving himself not only as a warrior, but as a leader of men. The humility and faith that had driven him to face Goliath continued to guide him, even as he navigated the complexities of court politics and the burdens of leadership. Despite his successes, David's life was not without trials. He faced betrayal, persecution, and personal failures that tested his character and faith. Yet through it all, the memory of his victory over Goliath remained a source of strength. It was a reminder that even the greatest challenges could be overcome with faith and reliance on God. The story of David and Goliath is more than an account of an underdog's victory. It is a testament to the power of faith and the courage to stand firm in the face of overwhelming odds. David's triumph was not about his strength or skill, but about his trust in a God who delivers his people. This tale, passed down through generations, continues to inspire those who hear it, encouraging them to face their giants with courage, knowing that victory belongs not to the strong, but to the faithful. It challenges us to look beyond appearances, to trust in a higher power, and to believe that even the smallest among us can achieve great things when guided by faith. As we reflect on the story of David and Goliath, we are reminded that our own battles, though daunting, are opportunities to grow in faith and courage. Just as David stepped onto the battlefield with nothing but a sling, a stone, and an unshakable trust in God, we too can face life's challenges with confidence, knowing that we are never alone.